The XRP ETF. We have been hearing about this for a while now, since going all the way back to when the Bitcoin ETF narrative really started to get, red hot. But the entire environment around crypto is completely different from that point to now. And the reason why I say that is because, well, XRP has done a very significant, job in terms of, pumping in price. The entire community around XRP has woken up in a massive way to the point where Bitcoin maxis, Ethereum maxis, Solana maxis, almost all these other chains are now hopping on the bandwagon and saying, hey, XRP is very bullish, even though for the longest time, XRP was hated and scolded around those communities. But we even have some big players like JP Morgan now making predictions around the XRP ETF, which I find very interesting. So now today, the market is very red hot for XRP, which just makes it very simple for these institutions to say, guess what? We need an ETF for XRP. Anyone that's questioning why, they immediately answer saying, guess what? Retail loves XRP. Here's the facts. Look at how much XRP has pumped. Look at how much volume's in XRP. We can make a lot of money off of this. So it just makes sense. And I don't think anybody will really kind of argue with that. But we have to talk about this because there is a lot of information that's very interesting about this. And it feels as though we could be on the cusp of an XRP ETF happening in Q1 of this year. So with that being said, welcome to the channel, everyone. My name is Nick. For those that are new to the channel, hopefully by the end of this video, you do become a subscriber. Let's dive on into what JP Morgan is saying about Solana and XRP ETFs. So just in, JP Morgan believes that Solana and XRP ETFs, by the way, two crypto projects that actually don't have an ETF, but they do have a ton of filings behind them, could attract up to $14 billion in new investments. They're looking at Solana gaining about 3 to 6 billion and XRP gaining about 4 to 8 billion. Now, I find this interesting because, as we really look at the demand and we look at the space, I think that these numbers that they're giving us could very well increase by possibly 10x. And you might be saying, well, Nick, you're crazy because the Ethereum ETFs didn't even come close to some of these figures, upon launch. And even now, today, I think that they're still around like 15 billion or something like that. But I say that they could increase by about 10x because, from a retail perspective, you got to think about it from a retail side of things. If I'm looking at Bitcoin and it's trading at almost $100,000, then I'm looking at Ethereum trading at about almost $4,000. And then I'm looking at XRP trading at about roughly, $3. Guess what? I'm looking at that thing at $3. Again, a lot of people try to make the argument about market cap. Retail doesn't care about market cap. They look at that thing at $3 and they're saying, this thing could hit $30. Now, for Ethereum to hit $30,000, I'm sure that they are already aware that that's going to take some time. But XRP could easily hit, $30 in their opinion because it's such a small number. That's why I do think that these numbers could increase significantly versus, Ethereum, for an example. And we don't know, right? Like it's untouched territory when it comes to a lot of these altcoins, because Bitcoin hype was definitely there. Ethereum hype really not there though. But Ethereum hype doesn't really kick in until phase 2 of the cycle, anyways. But XRP has been killing it right now, right? And it has been recently. So it just makes sense to jump these numbers up a little bit more, even if it was 5 times more. That would be very significant. But I want to focus on the fact that they're now promoting and releasing projections on this. And Smoke Dog is also thinking the same exact way that I'm thinking here. We have JP Morgan is actively releasing projections on the anticipated capital inflows an XRP ETP could attract once it secures trading approval. They call it sizing up the XRP ETP opportunity. And it is definitely interesting because, they're talking about this possible ETP assets in the first 6 to 12 months. Like I said, I do think that these numbers could increase significantly. They're comparing it to, Bitcoin and Ethereum. Ethereum hit, so far the total market cap by token, it's about 395 billion. It hit about 3% of the actual penetration of this, right? So they're going off of the 3 to 6% penetration in terms of the ETPs. Again, in my opinion, I do think that the number could be significantly higher, simply because the demand that the retail sector could have for something like XRP, it could be much larger than that, of what they're anticipating. Because Again, Ethereum and Bitcoin, they don't have a player like Ripple that is actively pushing new products that are actually helping XRP grow in demand or even grow in, eyes on it. Because retail, they are constantly getting access to new and exciting announcements around XRP. It's almost like free marketing, if you will. And no, it's not the fact that Ripple is trying to pump XRP. It's the fact that, Ripple continues to push forward on a lot of their solutions that pertain back to blockchain technology. And it so happens to include the XRPL and XRP. So the retail sector is constantly getting hit with new news around XRP, and around Bitcoin and Ethereum. Well, it's typically the same thing, right? It's typically the same exact thing that we're used to seeing, which is Bitcoin's a store of value, and Ethereum is Ethereum, right? People are using Ethereum for meme coin gambling or NFT gambling and things like that. So there's not a lot of new stuff coming out. So the next big flashy thing is, well, Solana or XRP. And again, with Solana, it's kind of Ethereum 2.0 in the sense that it is just a meme coin casino. So that's why I think that as we really look at this, I think these numbers could significantly increase. But I find it crazy, though, that JP Morgan is now releasing projections. And again, you guys probably remember this post from the 9th, right? 70% chance of a Ripple ETF approved in 2025. We know it's XRP, it's not Ripple, but this is basically around XRP. Well, if we go over to Polymarket, this has a 62%, well, now it's a 59% chance. I find it very interesting that they're saying 59% when we now have JP Morgan releasing projections around an XRP ETF performance, which is telling us that they know something that we don't know. They know something that we don't know. And if BlackRock is in on this, remember what I said. If BlackRock goes and tries to file for an XRP ETF, it is going to get approved immediately. We know this is true. The SEC didn't even want to approve a Bitcoin ETF, but the second that BlackRock filed for one, they had no choice. Don't believe me? Go back to January of 2024 and read what Gary Gensler put out on the SEC website. It reads as if he was held, hostage, and Larry Fink was not letting him go until a Bitcoin ETF got approved. It's kind of crazy. It seems as though there's a clear control narrative where if BlackRock is entering into a market and if they want something to happen, it happens. They get it done. But also remember, right, just recently, Monica Long was on Bloomberg Crypto where she was talking about stablecoin, the stablecoin RLUSD, right, how it's going to be listed on more platforms imminently. But she also said that we will see an XRP ETF soon. I don't know what soon means, but I would argue that it's going to happen this year.
Right now, this is available on Bitso, MoonPay, CoinMina, additional listings coming on Bullish, Mercado Bitcoin, and others. What about a huge platform like Coinbase and others, for example? When does that happen?
We are continuing to expand distribution and availability of Ripple dollars on other exchanges. So I think you can expect to see more availability, more announcements coming soon.
How soon?
Imminently.
Well, we'll look out for that. What about in terms of adoption? How big do you expect this to get in the next year realistically? I mean, do you have a baseline kind of projection on how big it could get based on the adoption you're talking about with clients? Do you think large institutions are using this? Who's using it?
So, I mean, if we look at the crypto landscape overall, I mean, it has certainly been, the market's been growing in the past couple quarters. And, we think that this year is going to be a big year for crypto overall. And so demand for stablecoins, we think will grow along with that. As you mentioned, I mean, it's really the way to on-ramp and off-ramp. It's also used as a key asset in trading. So we think that the market's going to grow tremendously over the course of the next year. Our demand from within our client base, our business doubled within payments last year. And so we see a really strong growth trajectory for our payment solution. And with that, Ripple US dollar will have a premium role.
Monica, what about other asset types? You've seen a lot of interest when it comes to ETFs tied to cryptocurrencies. A lot of questions around whether you could see an ETF tied to spot XRP. What kind of discussions are you having with people about this? Do you think we'll see one soon?
I think we will see one very soon. I think that we will see more, various crypto spot ETFs this year coming out of the U.S. And I think XRP is likely to be next in line after Bitcoin and ETH. There's already been a number of different companies like Canary and others who have filed. And so we think, especially with the administration change, and that the approvals of those filings will accelerate.
So yeah, I mean, listen, as we really focus on what's being said here, yeah, I mean, the entire landscape for these ETF filings for the entire space, it's changing, which means that we could see an XRP ETF by the end of, the first quarter. But it also ties right back to another Ripple employee. If we actually go over here from Subjective Views, bullish post from Ripple's Director of North America, Alex Gillette. And here we have 2025, the year of unprecedented surge of capital. In 2025, that's all going to change. And he's talking about over the last 4+ years, banks have been restricted from engaging with crypto. No custody, no prime brokerage services, no credit solutions or opportunities. In 2025, that's all going to change. And it's going to drive an unprecedented surge of capital into the digital asset space. So if we're thinking about this, right, we're going to see a year of unprecedented surge in institutional capital. Institutional capital is going to pretty much flood into the space. Now, that's going to be through a few things, but I do think that an ETF is going to be the start of the show. But also, if we go over here, we have BlackRock knows that institutional capital is the next catalyst in 2025. Lock in. And this is actually from Bloomberg Crypto, reposted by Subjective Views. But check this out real quick.
It's interesting because at the end of last year, you saw Bitcoin skyrocket above $100,000 per Bitcoin. You saw that interest really start to taper off at the beginning of this year. You've had an incredibly successful launch. You have had some outflows in the product in more recent weeks. What do you make of that as you enter year 2?
Yeah, well, I think big picture, it was a pretty incredible first year for IBIT. Obviously, record-setting on a lot of dimensions, including inflows and asset accumulation. And, as we come into year 2 now, we're focused on a lot of the same stuff that we were in year 1, which is really being a valuable resource and an education partner to many of our clients. As we've talked about in the past on this show, we're still quite early days in terms of the adoption of the wealth advisory and the institutional segment. And so we're spending a lot of time engaging with those types of clients.
Is that where the growth is? We just heard from Kavita Gupta at Delta Blockchain, who said institutional is the next catalyst in 2025. I mean, how much opportunity is there?
Well, certainly the third bucket, which we refer to as end investors direct, was gangbusters out of the gates, right? And these other two categories, wealth advisory and institutional, there are much greater hurdles in terms of their process and the research and diligence that they go through.
Of those two buckets, which is a bigger opportunity?
It's hard to pick one, but probably wealth advisory, actually, because there's a lot of sort of momentum around firms that are working through their expedited approvals processes to allow advisors to actually put these ETPs in client portfolios. But institutional is very significant as well, and that's an education journey for many that's been playing out over the year. We're starting to see more of them emerge, particularly over the last quarter, I would say. You saw more institutions and a little bit more wealth advisory in the overall mix of inflows.
So yeah, I mean, listen, as we really look at what's going on, it seems as though 2025 is going to be the year where the banks are finally greenlit, right? I think that we're about to get, SAB 121 completely gone. The whole, big push against it was just ridiculous. So that's going to be gone, and SAB 121 will most likely be, pushed through. And then once that does get pushed through, the banks are greenlit, which means we're about to see massive amounts of institutional capital unleashed onto the space. And I think that's going to be a massive game changer. But I also think the focus right now should be the ETFs initially, because I think that the ETF, that's where we really start to see some significant flows from the retail sector, which leads to the institutions pushing even bigger products, bigger solutions, and possibly even utilizing the tech in everyday life. So the steps are being taken here. 2025 feels as if it's a year of, it's a completely different environment around crypto. And we don't know what's about to happen, but it feels as though the entire space is just, it's building up for one significant move. And I cannot wait to see what happens after the 20th. Let's watch, wait, and see. But with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because I'm more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord on the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Thanks for watching. Peace out.